What's going on? What's going on? We are back again. This is Elevated Vibes on IntellectualRadio.com. Now, everybody, you could join this conversation. The number is 708-223-8953. Once again, that is 708-223-8953. Or you can get up in the conversation on Facebook Live. All right, everybody. I know we were teasing this a little bit within a week, that we were speaking about the gentlemen, the heroes, and everything else
that you said
that out there in Tennessee.
To the
but we're gonna
time.
add on a little something too. You know what I mean? Because it was a couple things in entertainment.
Well, I mean, the show is about where's the love, dog.
Well, yeah, where's love altogether?
Where's the love?
But
brothers can't get no love this week.
But everybody's showing their position. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, let's not just jump to conclusions.
They're showing their position.
Let's not jump to conclusions.
Okay, come on, tell me why we ain't gonna jump to conclusions, because the conclusion is in black and white. Go ahead.
Well, let's introduce this topic. As everybody is aware, there was a mass shooting in Tennessee, and I believe the 15th mass shooting this month. Now, we're defining mass shootings as anything where there are 4 or more casualties or deaths. In this instance, and I'm getting confused now. Was this the guy who was a basketball player that shot him up, or is this that was a trans that came into the school that she used to go to, or he used to go, whatever? And I'm not even jumping on that part.
They and them. We're gonna do how it is out there.
Yeah.
All right.
Went into a school and killed 6.
Yes.
6.
Yes. 3 children, 3 adults.
And now this is where, Rich and I agree. This is the power to the people.
Yeah.
And the people did what they were supposed to. The people, and just for context, and I know sometimes we talk, but just because this is on YouTube and Facebook, just so that there can be some context. Late last week, there was a shooting in Tennessee. So if you're just turning into this late, there was a shooting in Tennessee in which a person who formerly went to the school took an AR-15 into the school, killed 3 children, and I believe 2 administrators or something to that effect.
And a custodian.
It
was 3 adults.
Police responded, and unlike Uvalde, rushed into the school.
They did their job, man. Let's keep it honest.
Let's keep it honest. They did their job. And they rushed into the school and stopped this person, they from committing more murder. The people of Tennessee rallied and said, y'all have to do something about this. Like, there's something that needs to be done, that this gun violence makes absolutely no sense.
Correct.
The Tennessee House of Congress, that the House, not the Senate, the House is Republican controlled.
Yes.
And you're going to have to help me with the names. The 3 representatives.
The Tennessee 3, the 2 Justins, I'm trying to remember their last name.
Okay. Amounted to, they disturbed the decorum.
I can't remember the lady's name. Go ahead. It escapes me.
Yeah, they disturbed the decorum of the body.
Yes.
And the Tennessee 3, the 2 of them share a commonality in terms of being black, and one of them was white. And one of the responses from the Republicans was that, well, it doesn't matter that it was an AR-15. What would you rather be shot by? A very, said, you might not like my answer. This is what he said. You may not like my answer. And my first thing is as a representative body, if your first words out your mouth are, you may not like my answer, you got a problem.
Yes.
All right. And so these 3 refused to be silenced. And
they actually represented their people from their district. You're speaking up. You're supposed to be the voice for that people who put you in office, and they did their job, without fear, and that's the thing that amazes me. They're doing their democratic civic duty.
The oath that they've that they've undertaken.
Right.
And they were charged, or they were expelled
Yes.
expelled from the House of Representatives of Tennessee. Now, two of the gentlemen were black, and there was one white lady, and
Which she made it by one vote.
One vote, which, you know, and that's why I said let's not jump to conclusions. Although we'll get there, but anyway,
I'm past jumping.
Right, but they refused to be silenced. You know, we are at the point where, you know, hope and prayer is just not enough. We are at the point where we must take affirmative steps to protect our most vulnerable citizens. It is not enough to continue to stick our heads in the ground and to say nothing or do nothing. And I'm a strong believer in the Second Right Amendment, but there has to be more wisdom out there than to continue to allow these type of shootings to occur. We just had one earlier this week where a gentleman
out in
Louisville,
yes,
you know, shot up
the bank,
yes, and killed the friend of the governor and, you know, representatives in the bank.
And was it 4 others or
4? Four. At this point, does it even matter? I mean, we have literally lost track.
This is true.
And I don't know how we as the people continue to put people in power who are not willing to do anything when we're actually demanding that you do something.
Yeah, and I don't understand on even with these people, how do you sell your soul to the NRA? And I'm gonna say it just like that, because I'm sorry, the AR-15, you might as well compare it to a hyena. I mean, it tears through bone, it liquidates tissue and everything else. That's pretty much something like what a hyena does.
No, I mean, if you get a chance, I believe it was the Washington Post had an article maybe 2 weeks ago that talks about the difference between being shot with a bullet from an AR and being shot with a bullet from a 9mm. The AR-556 high round capacity is a bullet that is used on the battlefields because of its trajectory and its ability. It's a high powered, you know, it packs more gunpowder than a 9mm. The damage it causes is substantially more than a 9mm, which, and I'm using the 9mm just for context. That's typically the type of ammo that's issued to police officers, the most common round used in the United States, and I believe NATO.
I mean, it's also one of the most common guns used in the U.S., right?
Well, not the ammo,
yeah.
The 9mm.
I mean, the gun itself.
Yeah, well, the AR is a popular, right? Like you can, the AR, depending on which AR you have, it can shoot 2 types of ammo. It's a 5.56, or I think it's 2.27, something like that. It's 5.5. I definitely know it's 5.56. 5.56 is a NATO round. That's the weapon that is used in war. Is meant, you know, you shoot an AR 5.56, it's going a mile.
Okay.
Like and once it hits the body, because of its size, and how it tears through ligaments and causes damage.
That's why I call it hyena.
Yeah, it makes it less likely that you will survive, especially if that round is fired up close. If it's fired up close, 9mm, yeah, you stand a chance. You know, it can do it. 22, 357, all of those type of rounds. Yeah, just because they do not have the gunpowder capacity that AR does. It's a, you know, and so the damage that it causes to the body is so substantial. But anyway, so these protests, these congressmen from Tennessee, refused to be silenced, and when their mics were cut off, they resorted to the bullhorn.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
and they're trying to get a message across. Like, people are dying. People are dying, but because, and this is about party before country. You know, somehow we have gotten so intrinsic into our camps of left, right, Democrat, Republican, but this is about life and death. And they refuse to be silenced. And as a result of their refusal to be silenced, the 2 gentlemen who were black were expelled. And the white woman was allowed to keep her seat by 1 vote, as you alluded to earlier. Well, today, Earlier this week, one of the representatives got their seat back.
And the other one just got reinstated
today. It just got reinstated today.
Yes.
So the question is, we have to talk of this question. What are we to do? What are we to do when? And here's the thing: the Speaker of the House of Tennessee said that their disturbance of decorum was the equivalent of January 6th. That's what he said. This is their mindset. Yeah. Like, how is speaking with the bullhorn the same as the violence that was meted out by the Proud Boys and all those people who participated in January 6th? You're literally equating the bullhorn to the violence that precipitated on January 6th. And this is the mindset. And this is the problem. We're in our camps. He's preaching to his camp, and his camp is going to eat that up. And so somehow we have to find a way to communicate across these lines, because it's only going to result in more deaths.
Correct.
And I'm not sure what the answer is.
Well, one thing that I heard today that it gives some hope, some light. I don't know how far we'll go, and I ask if it does not, that the people must take it further. And I'm not saying get crazy, but take it further. All right. The Biden administration is looking to investigate this even further to see if the Republican Party, mainly the Speaker of the House, because he spearheaded everything, if they could be brought up on violations towards certain amendments.
Due process.
Yes. Personally, yeah. I believe they should be, and should go to the fullest extent of the law. But as I said, because there's always a loophole in something, somewhere, somehow, there's always a way that they possibly can wiggle their way out. And so and that's why I state that the people, even if you got to write letters all day, if you got to do something, you got to sit in front of the state house or whatever. It's got to be something that has to be done, because moves like that is absolutely ridiculous. And we actually know what it really is.
Yeah, I mean, I did see protests outside of the Capitol where they were yelling, Buck, the Speaker of the House, but they wanted to use the word Buck. But I think it's going to take more protest.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're going to have to shut down these capitals.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, we need to take a page note from like they doing in Paris. Paris, the man.
Oh yeah, you make the French mad.
The whole country shut down. Yes. Macron trying to raise the retirement age by 2 years,
and it was
and they were burning the streets.
Now, see, I ain't saying go that far, but you might.
I mean, but it seems like it's going to take that kind of movement to move some of these intransient representatives and congressmen, because we keep sending the same people back, and I don't understand, just from a human decency place, how you continue to vote for this. Like, I can understand, like, okay, and here's the thing, in both cases, the bank case and in this case, the ARs were purchased legally.
Yes.
So we have to figure out some kind of common sense measurements.
And the system has to be revamped. Just even speaking of the bank case, from what I've heard, the family for the guy who did it, what he did, they came out and said, we were working on his mental issue and all of that. Now, there should be something, some type of list, some type of something that, this person went to see a psychiatrist because this is what they believe in. Yes, psychiatrists are mandated reporters. Mm-hmm. So it should have been something out there that would have cross-referenced with the state or whoever, to say, hey, this guy cannot get a gun. Plain and simple.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then The thing is, he didn't only get the gun; he got the hyena of guns.
I mean, I don't want to. I think we have to talk about it in a very common sense, very logical way. You know, an AR at the end of the day is still a weapon.
Yes.
Is it a weapon for hunting? Possibly. You know, but there are other weapons for hunting.
What, you trying to kill a bear?
I don't even know if he'll do that, to be honest. They do make weapons that's just for bears, but you know, but we have to come up with a fair compromise. You know, something, you know, you can't, I don't necessarily believe in banning it, but we have to have some common sense measures, you know, other than hopes and prayers.
Agreed.
I leave that to the policy wonks to decide. I don't necessarily think banning the AR-15 is necessarily the smartest thing.
But it may need to be altered in a way that
something has to
the
give.
Street.
Yeah, something has to give. Something,
you know, the homeland or whatever you want to call it. It has to be altered in a way that is not as powerful. Now, I understand within war, that's different. You know,
I mean, it's a weapon that was made for war. You know, it's I mean, so, but I'm going to leave it to the smarter, the policy ones to figure out. But we have to do something. You know, limit the capacity. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Would you not agree though with the policy ones, as you said? I really
policy
like
wonks.
That. Yeah. Not that if they don't do it, you have a time limit. If you don't do it, you need to get out of office. I mean, I need to put somebody in, and that's what the people need to do. I don't care if this is one person who may have done something for their area for a while, but if you can't get this across, which is killing children, you're literally killing your future. I mean, let's keep it real.
But let's be honest, Rich. We knew that what happened when the first school shooting happened. What was the first one?
Columbine.
No, not Columbine. The one where the little kids died. The first one.
Oh, in Connecticut.
Yes, I can't think of it right now. But the
which is really sad.
Yeah, the shooting in Connecticut. When we refused to do anything at that point, I knew we were losing. And I hate to say this, I hate to say it, but when white children are dying at the hands of white people coming into the schools and we do nothing about it, what hope is there for the rest of us?
Yeah, I agreed. And they were also talking about, you got to lock the doors, whatever. It was just proven in Tennessee that locked door is going to do nothing.
And she tried to lock the door and the door wasn't locked.
Right.
You know, so.
But I'm saying now their doors was locked. She shot through the door. Well, them shot through the door.
Yeah. So there has to be something. We have to figure out something. We cannot keep going as it is. I mean, the rest of the world must look at us as if we are insane. You know, because it's definitely insanity to continue to have these types of shootings and for nothing to be done. And this is, like I said, this is the 15th one this month, you know, or something they say is either 4th or 5th. It doesn't matter. We haven't even reached the middle of April yet, and we've had more than one mass shooting.
Yes.
You know, and so for this to continue to happen, it's just it's absolute insanity. You know, and the whole thing is it becomes this arms race because now that there's a shooting, other people want to run out and get guns to protect themselves. So we're always in this race armament buildup, you know, to protect yourself. You never know where it's going to happen. You never know what's going to go on. You know, and it seems that every time we pass some kind of gun law, all we're doing is making it harder for abiding citizens to get weapons to protect themselves. You know, that's the problem I have with some of the laws in, you know, our neighbor to the east of us, Chicago. It's like literally you're getting people robbed and stuck up on the trains every day, but all you've done is make it harder for citizens to get weapons to protect themselves. So something has to change. Either your policing got to get better, you got to arm your citizens, or you got to disarm your citizens. So that's never going to happen.
Well, yeah,
that cat's out the bag.
I've come to even realize that it'll never be a full disarmament. But also, do you not think that some of these gun manufacturers need to be investigated? Because if you really look at it, and it's always been word on the street here and there, I'm gonna say it like that. All right, people get tips on where to get the guns before, you know, it get into more legal hands. there's been tips over and over. I've heard that throughout the years. Hypothetically, you know what train to go get. Get on the rail car, stuff like that.
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know about
where's these tips coming from?
I don't know about holding manufacturers responsible from a legal perspective. They design weapons and we know what the purpose of weapons for. Now, if you happen to use it for a criminal intent, and this is a bad example, but let's say I use a hammer to kill you. Do I hold Ace Hardware responsible? Do I hold the people who made the hammer responsible? But if it's it's a tool. At the end of the day, it's a tool.
Where are hypothetically this information is coming from? See, that's the thing that you have to look at too. I mean, don't get me wrong. You got cats that, the straw purchasers. You get cats that, they literally go rob the gun store. They do that.
Maybe part of it, and I hate it here, but it makes sense, is that you do have mandatory waiting periods. Like you purchase a weapon on Monday, you can't get it till Friday. It's the cooling off provision.
But also, does it not where it needs to be a cross-reference type of list, even within that mandatory period? Because I think there is
you're talking about red flag laws. Red flag laws.
I mean, that needs to be more enforced than where
I don't know if it would have worked with the shooting in Tennessee.
Right.
Possibly with the one in Louisville, Kentucky, because he was exhibiting behaviors of, schizophrenia, of, mental health impairment. I don't know, but there are affirmative steps we can take right now that can somehow hopefully curtail, but we have to start somewhere, and we just haven't started. It's open season. Everybody, can shoot. Everybody can get a weapon, especially in the South, and, we don't require training. Maybe you require people to have insurance. Like every weapon you purchase, you have to have insurance, like, something like that. That may get into socioeconomic factors because that could be discriminatory as well. Maybe we start holding people accountable because they know their loved one has a weapon and is not mentally stable. Possibly. I don't know. These are just suggestions, but all I'm saying is we cannot continue at the pace where we're going. And it's appalling that these three people who are protesting the violence that has happened and are silenced. Like there are people who want their voices heard, and that's what these people were trying to do. These representatives were trying to do, was to get their voices heard. And I'm hoping it becomes a rally cry, but I'm afraid it won't. Because we've been down this road way too many times, and I don't know what is needed to wake people from their stupor to do something about this what's going on. I literally don't. If you can go into a grammar school, Uvalde, see children massacred, and continue to do the same thing that we're doing, again, what hope is there for the rest of us?
Okay, now, saying that and being that, how far do you feel that the feds can push this investigation? Do you believe that they could push it to where it may be, they're a violation of possibly the 14th Amendment of the United States?
I mean, if we had a serious Congress, they would ban the assault rifle. We had it under Clinton. We didn't have these mass shootings. You ban the assault rifle, or you ban, magazines that hold more than 30 rounds. There are things you can take, you don't make them semi-automatic. Make them, like every time you pull the trigger, you gotta something. There are things you can do.
Right.
Arming the teachers is not an issue. Fortifying schools is not.
We
the
see
issue.
That don't work.
It doesn't work. Having armed security, we know that didn't work.
Right. That was proven in Florida.
Uvalde, Texas. So there's a myriad of things that we can do, but there is no willingness in our Congress and our
and
representatives
that's what I'm saying.
to do
that
any of it.
The feds have to take this state government to task. All right.
I
I
mean,
mean,
the
Tennessee is notorious for something like this, though.
I mean, how does Congress do anything? They do it through the purse, so Congress controls the money, and I'm sure Tennessee is one of those states that receives a lot of money from the federal government. You can incentivize, passing things that, curtail the sale of the assault rifle there. And by the way, AR doesn't stand for assault rifle. That's the company that makes the AR-15. But there are things that Congress could do if it was serious to curtail the sale of the AR-15, and they just are unwilling to do it. Even when we controlled the House and the Senate, Congress could have did something then about the assault weapons, and we did nothing.
So, if the people were to push Congress in that way, what was some things just off the top of the head? I was gonna say off the top of the head that you feel that the people can do to push. I mean, besides, I'm not gonna vote for you 4 years from now. They got 4 years to act a fool, or 6 years. I'm sorry, to act a fool.
Yeah, we're beyond that point. This
right,
is the
but
point.
this is what I'm saying.
No,
so you got to push them forward to this.
We got to shut the country down. That's the only way that's going to happen. I mean, it has to be mass strikes, mass walkouts, like they do in France. Like, all of this stuff just has to be shut down. Like, people just stop going to work. People, and I don't know why we don't have that same sense of national unity that they are having in France. Like I say, in France, the man's trying to raise the retirement age by 2 years.
And they're ready to burn that country down.
Man, an additional, 720 days? Like, just, and he's saying, like, yo, it's going to save us a lot of money. We don't have enough young people working to support. So we got to do something to change. And he was like, we got to do this. I'm looking at the fiscal. Macron said it would be fiscally irresponsible for me not to do nothing.
Yeah.
And he raised it. And the French are like, no. Like, they burning everything.
Well, at first it was, I don't think it was Macron. I think it was the individual before him. But they was trying to raise it to a 40-hour work week. And they would, we sticking with this 26, and they almost got buck wild like they are now.
Yeah. So I don't know. But we stand on the precipice of a fallen nation. If you cannot, the main thing that any nation must do is protect its young and its upcoming. And we fail horribly. We are failing horribly. I just read a statistic today that, we have one of the highest mortality rates for newborn mothers. And that if you're an African-American woman, you're then more than twice as likely to die as being the mother of a newborn. Our infant mortality rates are higher than any other industrialized nation. So what is going on? We're the richest nation, most powerful nation that has ever existed on the face of this earth, but we cannot protect the most vulnerable citizens.
Well, part of that is because not every physician is like this. Okay, let me throw that out there first. But some of them has defied their own Hippocratic oath. When it comes to Black women, women of color, however you want to place it, they'll turn around and not give the same amount of medication or care in general as they would to a Caucasian woman, and that's been utterly ridiculous for years.
Yeah.
Or, within the minority neighborhood, we may get the worst of physicians, and we have to endure that position because no other physician want to come in and work in that neighborhood.
Right.
It's not every physician, it's not every person, but
but it's a part of the problem.
Yes.
But like I said, I know we're gonna move on to the next topic because I know tonight's a short night for us. But we have to figure out as a nation, not our representatives, not our senators, not our president. And maybe that's the problem. We've put too much power in their hands.
Right. And they're supposed to work for us.
And they're supposed to, and here's the thing.
We employ them.
Well, there is twofold problem. And just speaking as a political scientist is that right now, the way a lot of our districts are set up, the representatives are choosing the citizens, and the citizens aren't choosing the representatives. So we need to take a hard look at gerrymandering. We need an independent political body that sets up congressional and senatorial districts independent of political party. So that's one. So that way you get power back into the hands of the people, because right now it just feels like the power to the people is diluted because of the way these representatives are drawing their congressional and senatorial districts to choose their citizens. You know, you look at some of these congressional maps and you're like, who drew this? Like, how drunk were you? You know? So that's one.
I agree.
Two, the same protest that is happening in France, and you can talk about the French all you want, whatever, they get stuff done. You know, we need that type of national unity. We need that type of national unity that we had back in 1941 when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. We need that type of national unity when those two planes flew into the World Tower building. You know, we at that point, we were all American citizens, you know, and so that's what it's going to take to end this type of gun violence and to make these congressmen do something, you know. That is the type of outcry that we need. We need a national day where people is just saying, we all just walk out. You know, not one thing is getting done today.
So a complete national walkout.
A shutdown of the system. You got to shut down the system. The only thing that people respect is economic power. You know, it's cool when the children walk out of school. We get to see that and they get some news coverage, you know. But imagine how much more powerful it would be if the truck drivers just stopped on the highways.
Yeah.
How powerful would it be if the goods were not getting to where they're supposed to get to? You know, then representatives would start listening.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
because you stop the money.
You stop the purse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's the thing you don't mess with? You don't never mess with the money.
Right.
You know, you don't mess with the money. You know, you follow the drugs, you get the bad guys. You follow the money, you know, you find out where it goes. You know what I'm saying? So we got to do that, you know, and we have to figure out as a people how to put our differences aside for the sake of the children. But honestly, I don't have a lot of hope for that. Honestly, I don't. If as I say, if you can go into any grammar school and do the killings that we have seen, when you hear about the desecrated bodies of the children in Uvalde and how the parents couldn't identify their own children, and Governor Abbott's response to that was to send out DNA test kits. So I'm supposed to swab my son's or my daughter's mouth just on the fact or the belief that if something is to happen, that I will have a body to claim. We have gotten our children to the point where they are accepting of these drills.
Yes.
That take place in the school.
Yes.
We are at the point where we are accepting of the fact that kids have to go to school with bulletproof backpacks. That has to shock the national conscience. It has to. We need leaders to speak up and lead a march on Washington. You know, we got to find that voice, and that doesn't have to be one, and we got to be willing to put our differences aside, but we need a march on Washington, you know, to shut it down. Shut it down. You know, it should be like no traffic is coming out of D.C. We're going to shut this down. You know, these congressmen are not leaving until you pass some national gun reform. We need that kind of national outcry.
And don't we also, you think, should have a march or a shutdown towards all the lobbyists who we know do some underhanded type things. I'm not even only going to pick on the NRA. I could, but I'm not. You know,
I mean,
but
the system just
I
needs to be
mean,
shut
come
down.
at them as well.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It-
Because
it's-
they're the ones feeding these so-called unreal politicians.
who all the system just needs to be a march. And I'm not talking about 50,000. I'm talking 100,000.
I'm talking everybody.
Yeah, I'm saying it has to be that. We all should be marching on our capitals and demanding this, you know, and saying no more. You know, not one more child. I don't want to hear about how a child sacrificed his life to save his friends.
Yeah.
That's not a child's purpose.
Not at all. Child purpose is to be a child.
It's to be a child.
Just to enjoy life. While
How
you
a
can.
child laid his body on top of his friend's body so that he wouldn't get shot.
Yeah.
How teachers have had to sacrifice their lives in order to save their children.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear these stories anymore. I'm tired of it. I'm tired, and we should all be sickened by it.
Mm-hmm.
But we continue to do the same thing, and it has sunk like a poison that festers in our soul. And we claim to be a Christian nation. We claim that. I pledge allegiance to the flag, one nation under God. I'm telling you, we're not under God. This is the devil. And as long as we continue to accept it, we are the devil's spawn.
There it is. There, everybody it is. If you got any comment or thought or whatever, you could definitely hit us up. Number is 708-223-8953. Once again, that is 708-223-8953. Or you can always, if you don't want to do it here, that's fine. Hit us on the email. It's the triple threat of radio. That's right. All one word. The triple threat of radio at gmail.com. All right, brother. I want you to start off this entertainment thing.
All right. So, you know, the theme of today's show is where's the love? So we go from, you know, the love of, you know, these two brothers not getting any love in Tennessee and being kicked out to flip the script.
Oh, by the way, before you even get into that, everybody, because we know and we see how Tennessee is, pay attention and always do your best to look out for the Tennessee 3. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. So flipping the script, as everybody's aware, you know, the movie Creed 3 is out, starring Michael B. Jordan and what's the other brother's name? Jonathan Majors.
Yes.
And Jonathan Majors and Michael B. Jordan, from all, you know, two solid brothers, dynamic actors. You know, I haven't seen Creed 3 yet, but I'm dying to go see it.
I intend to, definitely.
You know, haven't seen Ant-Man yet with Jonathan Majors. But anyway, they did a series of photos, I believe, for Vogue magazine.
Yes.
And in Vogue magazine, I don't even know how to describe it. They just took pictures as brothers do. Like, you know, like in one picture, Jonathan Majors has his arm draped or wrapped across Michael B. Jordan's shoulders. And I believe it's the rapper Cameron said, this is the reason I didn't go see Creed 3.
Yes, he did.
Implying that the picture implied some form or type of homoerotica, homo whatever. And, you know, I have a problem with this. The problem is that we talk about this poison masculinity. Now, I don't want to get into it because, you know, that determines, you know, what is that and all of that. But the problem is, why can't brothers show each other love? You know, that we always got to be this hardcore gangster, no smiling, and they weren't even smiling in the picture. Like, no. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't. I saw the picture. I didn't think it. I was like, oh, that's two brothers. They tight. Like, right. Here are two brothers who have arrived at the pinnacle of their career, you know, and it's always one of us that tears someone down. Like, he just missed the opportunity. Like, you just want to be like, Cameron, you just missed the opportunity to shut the up.
Pretty much.
I mean, that was a good buzz. He should have missed it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, why not? Why do we feel this need to tear each other down? Why do we feel this need to be mean towards each other?
Well, one, I think a lot of that has been ingrained in us for so long that, and it has where, you know, we have to be tough or show hardness on a constant basis, like it ain't no tomorrow.
Right.
You know, and the tearing down thing, I don't know why, but we've had for a very long time, as long as I can remember, it's always somebody with that crabs in the barrel attitude.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's exactly what it is.
You know, and that's not helping you or me. Because while you're tearing me down, it don't look good on you, and it makes others look sideways at me.
I mean, why can't brothers just be friends? Like, right. You know what I'm saying? Why there's this insinuation of homoeroticism or whatever you want to call it, you know? People could just be friends, you know? And we should be able to, if you are sad, I should be able to put my shoulders or my hands around you to give you comfort. If you are happy, I should be able to give you a hug and congratulate you.
Right.
We are human beings who enjoy a spectrum of human emotions. And because we are human beings, we are creatures who need each other. You know, the one way they punish you in prison is how? Isolation.
Yeah.
And what does that do to the mind?
Make you go crazier than you already are.
And so here are these two guys in a photo at the pinnacle of their careers showing love for each other. I mean, that should be the model, you know, because that's why we have so much violence in the streets. You know, we always talk about my brother, you know, and we have to learn to start looking at each other like that. You know,
a lot of times, you know, you may say it, but a lot of folks don't be about it. And that's the problem.
If you identify you as my brother, it makes it harder to destroy you.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. You know, they can say it just for saying. A lot of people do this. They say it just for the saying, but then turn around and be the same person that mess around and stab you in the back. Well, and it's like,
well, I was definitely happy that so many came out against his statement.
Yes.
You know, that to me, and maybe that's the joy we should take in it.
Mm-hmm.
Not to get caught up in that foolishness, but the fact that so many people came out and said, man, what are you talking about? Like, this is Michael B. Jordan. Like, you know, this is the Denzel of now. And I, you know, not that anybody's going to be the Denzel of now, but he's that up and coming star.
Right.
And Jonathan Majors is right on his heels. You know what I'm saying? I think they're both fabulous actors. Anything they're in, I've enjoyed.
Yes.
You know? And for someone to come and tear them down like that, it's like, pox on you. Like, shut the up.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, agreed.
You know, don't miss that opportunity. Like, you know, it's an opportunity that comes every now and then.
Yeah.
You should take full advantage of it. And he missed it. Like, you know, swung in a miss and stuff like that. So,
and I think sometimes, you know, people do things to get their own notoriety. You know, there's been other,
infamy.
Yeah, you know, and it's actually kind of useless. Let's keep it very honest. You know, you get your moment, everybody, you know, gets back at you, and then you disappear again.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? So let's not focus on that. Let's focus on the people's responses to him, telling him to shut the up.
Yeah.
You know,
yes.
I think that represents a advancement in our mentality as a society. You know, so I'm not going to get caught up in that manuka. I'm focusing on the responses and the positivity that people put out for these two brothers express. I mean, and I'm not sure if it was Vogue, but it was a good magazine spread, and it featured two black men. That in itself is progress.
I do believe it was Vogue.
It was Vogue, right?
I do believe it was. You know,
so you know, So I think that in itself is progress. Especially after the light of last year when we saw two black men tear each other down and slap each other, or one slap the other. Act of violence that's more associated with people who look like you and I. And maybe that's what was missing, because we didn't see that arc of violence between,
Correct.
which for the most part are two alpha males.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's positive. I think the feedback that he got was positive, and I think we need to use that as an exemplar for how we need to move forward and progress. And maybe some of this violence, tying everything together. And here's another one. These two brothers in Tennessee, speaking as intellectually, intelligently, as well as they have about the matter. I remember one of the brothers was asked, he was like, "Sir, isn't it in fact true that you're on this floor for disturbing decorum?" He's like, "No, I'm in fact on this floor because you have voted to expel me for voicing the vote of the people."
Yes.
I thought that was a brilliant comeback. He rejected the preface of the question and things like that. So we have seen two exemplars in a society that chooses to tear us down as men of color, coming together for the purposes of doing something positive. And I think that's the note we should end on. That's the note that we should end on. That brothers are out here doing stuff. Brothers are out here making positive moves, doing positive things, and trying to uplift their community. And we have to stop being distracted by the camerons and the speakers of the house trying to distract from the message. And we can focus on that instead of the negativity, and allow these type of people to be the leaders and the exemplars that we should emulate and follow. I think that would make for a better society. And that's the note that I want to end on.
All
now,
right.
These two brothers, one in, the movie career and one in politics, places that we have traditionally been denied a voice, places that we have traditionally not seen men of color in power. And so let's end on that note and continue to figure out how we can have more people like that and less of the camerons.
All right. Now, real quick, because I love what my brother here has said. Also, America in general, I want to challenge you to do this. Let's flip into this true positivity where we are building one another up. And to all those on a political sense, on the social sense, or whatever, if all you can do is try to hide behind whatever and tear everybody else down because you ain't getting what you want to get, take a seat. Go on about your business. Walk out the door. Do whatever you gonna do. But let everybody else build for a better future. All right, this is the end of the show for Elevated Vibes. We will be back.
Hey, stay positive, stay uplifted, be unmercifully kind and gracious to yourself, because why? You deserve it.
All right, this is Elevated Vibes. Peace.
Peace.